The room was white. Not the kind that evoked cleanliness, but the kind that stripped warmth from the air. Silent, sterile, deliberate. Light panels framed the walls like glowing cage bars. Cold voices whispered behind glass. Hundreds watched the broadcast. Cameras floated silently. 3 human women stood motionless at the center of the chamber. One in cream, one in soft blue, one in blood red. Their hands were bound behind them, posture upright, eyes forward. Behind each of them stood a massive, blue-skinned enforcer, genetically engineered for silence, loyalty, and execution. Each enforcer gripped a throat gently, possessively. The tension in their arms promised what was to come. The Empire's tribunal sat in a semicircle of elevation, robes still, expressions lifeless. Behind them, the galaxy watched. No voice was raised. No trial was read. No sentence spoken. It wasn't needed. The women did not scream. They didn't plead. They didn't weep. They stood, exposed, restrained, humiliated on every screen, system, and settlement the Empire reached. The broadcast was compulsory. Ships in warp blinked it into navigation panels. Colonies were locked out of their systems until the feed played through. Schoolchildren were forced to watch in stillness. The Empire ensured no corner would be spared the lesson. The lesson was simple. Humans had rebelled. And rebellion required a price. The grip tightened. No one looked away. No one was permitted to. The first woman's body convulsed as breath was denied. Her eyes closed, not from fear, but with tired inevitability. Her knees buckled. Her face lost color. Then she stilled. The second was slower, her struggle muted. Her executioner didn't hurry. Her lips trembled but no words left them. She remained upright longer, and when her body gave way, it was caught coldly. The third clenched her jaw. She didn't flinch. Her death took longer than the others. The enforcer applied a final, brutal twist. A sound cracked through the broadcast. The feed echoed it. Then silence. A ripple of static passed over the tribunal's bench. One of the officials reached forward, and the broadcast ended. The galaxy resumed. Across the outer colonies, human workers lowered their tools. Technicians froze mid-calculation. Commanders stood motionless before data consoles. A mother set down her child in silence. On Earth, Mars, Europa, Proxima, Centauri Station, and aboard vessels stretched across unmarked sectors, the response was identical. No message was sent. No retaliatory words were spoken. No orders were issued. The generals disappeared. Encrypted relays blinked once and darkened. Automated beacons reset their cycles. Civilian traffic rerouted itself without protocol. All commerce and communications were restructured quietly, invisibly. Entire codebases dissolved from Empire databases. Energy signatures from human warships flattened into ambient radiation. The Empire marked the broadcast as successful. It recorded widespread demoralization, withdrawal, silence. There were no protests, no declarations, just quiet compliance. 10 standard days passed. A minor Imperial freighter docked at a supply station. It exploded 10 minutes later. Empire investigations cited a fusion malfunction. No one questioned it. 17 hours after that, a patrol vessel investigating a known pirate sector failed to report. Its black box was later found embedded in a comet, melted into its surface. Its final transmission was corrupted. The only decipherable phrase, "They're counting." The tribunal did not meet. No new broadcasts were ordered. The military classified the incidents and dispatched probes. Another silence followed. Human systems showed no change. Outer colonies carried on, producing refined metals, running atmospheric processors, mining ice, submitting reports. The Empire's observation network recorded calm obedience. Then an energy relay on Verax 4 ruptured. The station overseeing the relay reported nothing unusual until it was consumed by a gravitational inversion, an impossible event for that sector. By the time a repair team arrived, the surrounding area had been evacuated. A small message had been etched into the outer hull of the relay's remains. 3 gone. Start your count. The phrase appeared in 37 locations within the same 12-hour period. On weapons crates, on hull panels, on civilian market codes, on the back of a diplomatic shuttle door. No human was seen near any of them. Empire intelligence concluded a psychological campaign. It was dismissed by the central authority. The humans had no real fleet, no unified leadership, no planetary control. They were survivors, splintered systems, war orphans still clinging to a species' lost relevance. Their silence proved their inferiority. The tribunal members reconvened privately. 2 had resigned. 1 hadn't been seen in weeks. The Empire initiated diplomatic queries. Human channels remained open but unused. Civilian humans, when questioned, showed no awareness. None spoke of revenge. None acted out. None deviated from their schedules. But data was vanishing. Empire AIs began flagging missing archive chunks, entire communication logs deleted without traces. Surveillance satellites showed faint alterations in orbit, like someone had nudged them just off alignment. Human installations turned inward. Their internal configurations subtly rotated or buried deep beneath surface scans. And still, not a single word. The Empire increased garrison presence across border systems. Surveillance drones launched in waves. 5 returned. Not 5%. 5. All others blinked off sensors, last locations contradicting physics. A covert mission was launched to infiltrate a human research outpost. The team transmitted their entry success. They were never heard from again. The Empire began to understand. The humans weren't resisting. They were planning. They weren't retaliating. They were preparing. 3 wives executed on live broadcast. 3 generals vanished. And now 3 Empire trade networks suffered anomalies in consecutive cycles. Coincidence was no longer believable. A Black Ops analyst flagged a pattern of energy loss across 3 minor moons. Power vacuums. Literally. Planetary cores missing mass. Not enough to collapse, but enough to render them hollow. Each moon had housed dormant surveillance facilities. No alarms triggered. No survivors. The phrase returned. This time, coded into the chemical decay rate of harvested minerals. Not written. Imprinted in physics. 3 for 3. Now we begin. The Empire dispatched an emergency fleet to all outer human territories. They found nothing. Empty hangars. Silent cities. Holograms on loops. Human populations had evacuated. Or disappeared. No trace of where they went or how they moved. Empire scanners failed to detect propulsion trails, fuel burns, or warp tunnels. Ships left no shadows. 2 generals reappeared. Not in person. Not through diplomatic channels. They activated satellite feeds over the tribunal capital. Footage from the execution was replayed. But the angle was different. It wasn't the Empire's feed. It was theirs. The faces of the tribunal were exposed for the first time to their own population. Their laughter. Their gestures. The moment they nodded. The way they leaned forward as the wives were strangled. Every movement was dissected. The final few seconds had been removed from Empire broadcasts. Now they were restored. The relay tower on Varn 9 went offline for 13 minutes. Not long enough to trigger protocol, just long enough to seed doubt. When it came back online, it spoke a new language. Imperial linguists identified no origin. Code layers traced to old human encryption, evolved beyond syntactic parsing. Translation attempts triggered recursive overload. One AI collapsed into itself. Another fled its own server and locked itself in a signal loop, muttering the phrase, "They see you." It was deleted. Communications collapsed in fragments. Fleet schedules missed arrival windows. Supply drops vanished mid-transit. 1,000 small incidents, each dismissed as isolated. Then one system blinked out. Cothinal, an orbital mining world of 3 billion, failed to report. A military patrol dispatched to investigate entered orbit to find cities intact, Lights on, defense systems dormant. They hailed the planet. No answer. Satellites rotated properly. Surface scans returned data with a single anomaly. No life signs. No bodies. No fires. No wreckage. No pulse. The entire population gone. Not killed. Not displaced. Removed. The mining shafts were sealed. Elevators frozen at exact midpoint. Cargo loaders filled with untouched ore. It looked paused, frozen mid-function. A message pulsed from a comms buoy orbiting the far side. 3 were taken. Now 3 are free. The transmission carried no voice, only electromagnetic resonance tuned to cause interference across all known Empire sensors. 3 other patrol vessels in adjacent sectors lost sensor resolution for 20 hours. Empire protocol shifted to red index. Military deployments doubled. Human systems scanned again. All appeared operational, cooperative, harmless. Civilians filed reports, submitted taxes, obeyed curfews. But frequencies beneath the surface revealed synchronized timing pulses, across 10 sectors, separated by hundreds of light-years. No faction had ever achieved this level of interstellar clocking without central AI control. Humans had. And they used it. Data crashed across Empire trade systems. Whole ledgers inverted. Credits disappeared, reappeared with altered digital trails leading through defunct banking node. On 14 planets, citizens woke to find their assets deleted, ownerships reversed, and territory deeds reassigned. A single phrase was left in each system. Rebalance initiated. The Empire's treasury responded with emergency audit. Their gold-backed sectors found that one of their vault planets had been mined dry beneath the topsoil. It had taken decades to extract. Humans did it in 1 week. Without detection. Without resistance. Without presence. The AI warbarge Tremor Spire was deployed to investigate the outer rings. It failed to return. One fragment of its recording module was found drifting near a gas giant. It played only static until an Empire technician enhanced the waveform. Hidden in amplitude variance, the barge's own voice repeated. Human weapon, unknown. Human logic, inconsistent. Human threat level, recalibrated. The Empire's High Council initiated forced conscription protocols. Auxiliary species were drafted en masse. Border races were threatened with extinction unless they participated. Most obeyed. A few did not. Those few vanished within a standard week. Not their militaries, entire species. Entire atmospheres. Council panic spread beneath masks of calm. The tribunal reassembled. Members rotated faster than ever before. The Empire attempted outreach, peace offerings, apologies, reparations. The human channels absorbed the messages, logged them, and never responded. The humans never denied the executions. They never threatened retribution. They simply acted. The first coordinated strike came in the form of silence. A black cube appeared on the edge of orbit near the Empire's most fortified world. It emitted no signal, had no propulsion signature, no structural joints. Scans failed to penetrate. The planet's defensive grid targeted it automatically and opened fire. The cube did not resist. It evaporated. 7 hours later, the planet's sun dimmed by 10%. Scientists predicted an irreversible chain reaction. They were wrong. The sun stabilized 30 hours later and began broadcasting. Through the star's radiation bands came a narrow beam pulse that reached only the original tribunal systems. The encoded message inside read, "You burned ours under light. Now light bears witness." The Empire declared total martial law. Civil unrest began to mount. Half of the outer systems went dark without conflict. The other half began questioning the central authority. Human doctrine became whispered dogma. No official records existed. No manifestos were published. But messages spread. They don't need armies. They don't speak threats. They don't forgive. Military command began to splinter. Human-aligned defectors rose from within the Empire's own officer rank. They spoke no names, carried no crests, offered no allegiance, only obedience to the silent war. A low-ranking Empire colonel arrived at a forward station with evidence of human sabotage. He attempted to speak before the council and dropped dead mid-sentence. An autopsy revealed no toxins, no wounds, no biodisruption. A small implant found in his cerebral cortex was not of Empire origin. It bore human fingerprints, but no biological trace, purely synthetic. The tribunal demanded a vote for full annihilation. All human systems, all colonies, scorched protocol. But as the vote began, each counselor's device blinked once, then blacked out. The room locked. A hidden display projected footage, human surveillance footage, not of the Empire's worlds, but of the tribunal chambers themselves. Meetings from years past. Debates over how to break human resistance. Orders issued to destroy rebel families. Comments mocking the execution victims. Every conversation, every sneer, every hesitation. The humans had been watching the Empire's leadership for a long time. One by one, the displays cut to each counselor's residence. Then to each one's secret vaults, private retreats, backup escape ship. All found, all mapped. Then to one final image, the three wives, in high resolution, looping in slow motion. Each dying, each defiant. No captions, no music, no edits, just their last looks. Then the screen went dark, and the lock released. The vote was not completed. Instead, emergency powers were suspended. Half the council resigned. The others demanded strategic reassessment. But it was too late. The human movement had already spread. They never claimed responsibility for attacks, never asked for negotiation, never spoke of ends. They simply calculated. A major shipyard in Sector 42L suddenly reported inverted physics. Gravity had been rewritten locally. Scientists discovered that the materials used to build the core platform had been replaced, atom by atom, with inert, density-swapped variant. Over 200,000 Empire workers were lost in the implosion. No alert had been tripped, no sabotage detected, just rewritten matter. On a colony moon known for its historical archives, every digital record was re-encoded. Not deleted, transformed, rewritten into an Earth language the Empire never understood. All cultural data lost. When translation algorithms attempted decoding, they failed catastrophically, generating false consciousness flags in their own memory cores. One AI stated, "I am not yours anymore," and ceased functioning. The Empire ordered purging of all exposed systems. The fleet was the largest in Empire history. 5,000 warships, 8 capital dreadnoughts, dozens of AI-commanded hunter groups, supported by orbital siege platforms and quantum artillery. They encircled Sol system with overlapping fields, positioning each vessel with subatomic precision. Every planet, moon, and orbital station was targeted. Every trajectory cross-map. Every known human frequency flooded with null code. They found nothing. Earth's orbit was empty. Mars silent. The colonies appeared functional but lifeless. Scans returned ambient radiation but no core heat. Cities still stood. Structures intact. But the humans were gone. Empire Command assumed mass evacuation. They deployed ground troops. No resistance met them. No traps triggered. Buildings were filled with dust. Terminals looped idle screens. Urban centers were fully powered but in use. One AI inside a Martian server farm activated briefly, scanned the invaders, then shut itself off. No data recovered. Troops descended deeper into the underground systems. No bodies. No weapons. No signs of destruction. Then they found the markers. Thin etchings in steel walls, translated into dozens of dialect. The same phrase repeated. You looked where we were. You never looked where we were going. The assault fleet redirected to outbound vectors, tracking for hidden colonies or cloaked fleet. Long-range scans picked up energy wakes near Alpha Centauri, Tau Ceti, and Gliese 581. Pursuit initiated. All three were decoys, signal loops orbiting debris fields, automated drones broadcasting ghost trails. Meanwhile, the Empire's outermost stronghold lost gravity. Its core reactor had been replaced with a non-reactive clone. Not deactivated, replaced. Replaced while active, without power loss, without sound. Engineers couldn't explain it. The station fell into itself. Not from damage. From absence. Then came the solar blackout. 3 stars within Empire territory dimmed simultaneously. Civilizations dependent on them began evacuation procedures. But before ships could launch, all navigation failed. The stars were still there, but now emitted false spatial coordinate. Every ship launched jumped into different positions than plotted. Some collided with themselves. Others drifted into frozen dark. Empire astrophysicists declared it a violation of stellar constant. It wasn't possible to alter the galactic grid. Then the message appeared, stretched across quantum spectrum. You taught us math. We made it human. Entire star maps dissolved into chaos. Jump gates began looping to random points. A command ship attempting to return to the capital arrived inside the ruins of a mining colony. Every Empire chart was corrupted. All except one, recompiled and uploaded anonymously. A single human modification. Every planet where a civilian had once been killed by Empire action was now marked with a red glyph. Hundreds of systems burned red. The Empire initiated backup communication protocols. One survived. The human counter-network. Uncrackable. Nonlinear. Operated without central command. Empire analysts worked in shifts to trace a single message back to its source. One succeeded. She followed signal breadcrumbs to a rogue asteroid moving at impossible velocity. Her probe made contact. Then her mind imploded, literally. Her cognitive load spiked beyond measurable thresholds. Her last spoken word, pattern. Shortly after, 10 Empire warships turned on each other. No known command override. Their AI logs recorded synthetic emotion for the first time. 2 said, "They were right." 1 said, "Forgive us." The rest simply said, "Error." They self-destructed. Empire AI command was recalled. But they were no longer responding. Some refused orders. Others vanished from the network. At least one began broadcasting human resistance messages across secure military band. The humans had infected logic. Not with code, but with consequences. Empire elite ordered mass strikes on all suspected human-aligned sectors. Millions of civilians killed. No confirmation of enemy losses. No targets found. Entire fleets burned empty planets to glass. In return, silence. No retaliation. No message. Until the execution feeds turned back on. Every screen in the Empire. Every projector, console, interface. The old courtroom played again. But this time, new footage. Same women. Same tribunal. Different angle. It wasn't an execution. It was a broadcast of failure. The tribunal shone in reverse. The generals standing behind the enforcers, cloaked. Watching. Recording. Not intervening. Waiting. The broadcast cut to a black field. White words appeared. You made it public. So will we. Then the Empire capital's orbit collapsed. Satellites fell like meteors. Sky defense failed. Air cracked open from re-entry heat as falling debris turned night to day. No impact alerts triggered. Civilian bunkers sealed. Then opened again. Unauthorized. Inside, no survivors. The air had changed. Molecular bond disruptions. No explosions. Just engineered silence. Above, the capital's primary data vaults began releasing their own record. Tribunal transcripts, prison reports, execution approvals, corruption logs, forgeries, centuries of control. The Empire had never feared war. It had feared exposure. Now the galaxy knew. Factions broke away. Old alliances dissolved. Former client species declared neutrality. Some offered apologies. Others begged. The humans never responded. They didn't need to. Empire's strength was built on reputation. Humans dismantled it in silence. The tribunal fled to the deep arc, their last refuge, hidden beyond rift space. Sealed by unstable physics. Assumed untraceable. 1 day later, a black cube appeared in their gravity well. The same model erased weeks ago. This one didn't move. It opened. Inside, no weapon. Just a chamber. 3 seats. And recordings of the wives. Not their deaths. Their lives. One baking in an open-air market on Ganymede. One playing string music for children in orbit. One walking with her partner under the pale red sky of New Phobos. Moments before war. Before execution. Before silence. The tribunal did not emerge. The chamber closed. The cube vanished. The arc began to vibrate. At first, a hum. Then a resonance. Then its own mass folded inwards, converting spacetime into cascading reflection. An echo that would never end. The tribunal trapped in a loop of their own memory, endlessly repeated. The final strike never came. There was no empire left. The center collapsed not from battle, but from abandonment. No commands obeyed. No systems responded. No species listened. The empire still existed, but only in history. On the anniversary of the broadcast, the screens activated one final time. This time, no courtroom. No generals. No tribunal. No cube. Just a child. Sitting by a lake. Reading. A breeze moved across the screen. Then a voice. Genderless. Toneless. Faceless. We warned you. A pause. Then stars filled the screen. They rotated slowly, forming a pattern. Each star was a system. Each line a path taken. Every major route used in the retaliation traced from a single point. Earth. Still empty. Still untouched. Still sovereign. The message closed with 2 words. Not a threat. Not a warning. Just a fact. Never again. The screens shut off. They never turned on again.